Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I just thought I'd do a quick video while I'm preparing my apartment for an inspection on Wednesday. Pray. You can do rituals, the rain, dance, whatever, spells, sigils. All people watching this video, just, no matter what God you pray to, hell, even, satanic rituals, if you want, that I pass the inspection and can stay here, I would be really appreciative. I don't even care if I can make money off of my videos as long as I could stay in this place, because it's been a saving grace in the last year, or last 8 months, or however long I've been here now. I would have gone crazy in the attic that I used to live in for my friend, and we had a little bit of a falling out over the virus. Thought I'd do that again. Anyways, this video is about kind of a follow-up to my last video that I just did about Donald Trump, and how I think the left can defeat him if they wanted to, and that is by draining him or denying him the attention that he's been given. So my whole thing is that I never supported Trump. I think there were way too many neocons that people did all sorts of backwards ass rationalizations and mental gymnastics to excuse him for supporting, namely like John Bolton, people like that, Pompeo. So, and I will acknowledge that he did a couple good things, and I'm not going to be a maniac and say, oh my God, he's the orange Hitler. That's one thing that I thought the left really missed the boat on, ignoring why he was elected in the first place. That said, I'm just going to give you a kind of a rundown on some of the channels that I watch and some of the commentators that I do like that are Trump supporters. And I never thought I'd say this, but this has come to this day. Because what happened was 2014, 2015, I was kind of going more, well, kind of a weird thing. It kind of fluctuates every year. Like 2010, 2011, I was definitely going more libertarian and watching a lot of certain conspiracy culture shows. And then 2014, 2015, I got into the anti-SJW thing, which led me down some paths. And then 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, I was kind of going more like Bernie Sanders kind of thing. Now I'm kind of going, I don't know. I'm kind of a nomad at this point, but definitely not a Trump supporter, and I never will be. I sort of get it, but I don't really get it if you really think about things and how, he's kind of like the right wing's Obama at this point. So, because they had this worshipful thing about Obama, when he came out, hope and change, yeah, sure. So that said, there are a number of Trumpers that I now respect, because over the last year or so, I've watched some of their channels, and I'm just going to give you a rundown of who they are. Well, the number one that I watch the most, and I take him with a grain of salt, is Stick, Sex, and Hammer. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that appeal to me about his channel and what his commentary is. But when he does more partisan kind of stuff, I still kind of identify with some of that, because he does attack the Democrats for legitimate reasons most of the time. But I also think, well, what about your side doing this, when those videos come about? So I get it. I like his occult content as well. I should watch more of those videos. I did buy a couple of his books. I'd say, like this recent video did about authoritarianism. That was a really good video. I like when he kind of fluctuates. He's all over the place, all over the map about whether or not to give the left any credit. Sometimes he'll say, oh, I miss the days when people were the 2002, 2003, 2004 liberal leftists that were against globalization, aka globalism. And, identify when he says that, I'm like, oh, that's me, And then he just talks about the cringe fringe and all this stuff. And leftism is inherently authoritarian and all this stuff. I kind of cringe. So that said, I watch him a lot. I might be cutting down on watching a lot of political stuff, but it's something I watch. I'm curious to what he says. Now, second one is Lotus Eaters. I really like, I liked Sargon of Akkad. I kind of had I kind of started thinking he was full of shit about a lot of things. And at this, I was really bothered by some of the stuff he was talking about, like some of the immigrant rhetoric, some of the Brexit rhetoric. There's a lot of left-wingers that actually like Brexit too, so Brexit isn't all bad necessarily, but some of the people that he was allied with, same with Tara Warwick, of course, but they were just, and some of his like very essentialist views on sex, like, I hate how the left is becoming just like so vague and so detached from reality with regards to biological sex, but he kind of takes it the other way, or he did. Like, oh, well, women do want to be in the kitchen. He wouldn't say something like that, but it would just be like almost like they'd want, hypergamy, and this is kind of like this. Just there's no fluidity. There's no spectrum with some of the stuff he said. I did a video about this years ago. It's on my channel if you look it up. I debunked Sargon or some shit. So that said, I've been watching him again on this Lotus Eaters thing. I love his takedowns of Hassan Piker, who is, God, talk about cringe. The thing about Hassan Piker is I used to watch him on TYT, and even back then when I was a huge TYT supporter, I was like, something's not right about this guy. He's Cenk Uygur's nephew, so, well, no shit. Who else do I watch? Sometimes I'll watch Salty Cracker, but I don't really, he's really deeply, like, he won't talk about it, but he's definitely into the Q thing. Way too much for my taste, and I just never, I would watch, there's this James Corbett video, Hopium, that hopefully this won't be flagged. There's a James Corbett video that he did. James Corbett did the video about a lot of this stuff and debunking a lot of that stuff. It was very excellently done. I highly recommend people watch it. So I'll watch some of this stuff because some of it's funny. Same with Hideology. Now, what's his name? I can't remember the guy's name. Is it Craig or something? A guy from Minnesota. I think he's a vet too. That guy's pretty funny. He has a lot of cool memes that I've shared. He's definitely a Trump guy, but he's almost like more old school Republican that just happens to like Trump. There's like this, like, I wouldn't say like homely thing about him, but like almost like, I think I'm thinking of the right channel. Yeah, is it Hideology? It's the guy, shit. Yeah, I think that's his, he talks about a lot of stuff that's really funny. Those are my three main ones right now as far as Trump supporters I like. I also like Tim Pool sometimes, but sometimes I don't. I find his like cadence really kind of annoying, like how he talks. I'm sure people find mine too, so hats off to you. I've been told that I smack my lips a lot, which I actually stopped doing in videos a couple months ago, but it's like, I don't know. I don't really care, but like Tim Pool does annoy me, just his general demeanor sometimes. I don't hate him, but like, I'll even watch Ben Shapiro, which I never thought I would do, and I think he's really annoying too, because I think it's hilarious though. Some of his more social stuff lately has, and obviously during the whole crisis the past year, has been pretty spot on. I don't like his solutions to things and his over allegiance to the neocon way either, so he's pretty cringe. I'm just talking about people I don't like now, or sort of like Ben Shapiro is not bad at times. Tucker Carlson will say some kind of race baiting, kind of xenophobic stuff in one sentence, and the next he'll be like totally spot on. So he is a confusing conundrum, because he had Jimmy Dore on, he has Glenn Greenwald on and stuff. So it's kind of weird. Steven Crowder makes me cringe. I don't think he's funny. I think he's secretly. I like his, his stuff on college campuses. Sometimes these debates, like he does do decent debates. That's the only thing I really like from him. Sometimes he's so full of shit even during those. But he's proved me wrong, or what is it called? I can't remember that whole meme that got popular. It's been a while since I've watched some of that. But some of his stuff and some of these guys on there are just annoyingly partisan and just full of shit about a lot of stuff. So I don't really like Steven Crowder that much. I don't think it should be banned off of YouTube, obviously, but I'm not a fan of him. I actually like Shapiro a lot more than Steven Crowder. I like Shapiro. He's kind of a bigot and stuff in some ways because of his religion, but like he almost seems like he could, if he went a different way, he could be more liberal or less reactionary than he is, because he just has that kind of mindset. Like he's not like Steven Crowder's just like a frat boy. It was like, I'm a Republican, I'm cool. It's like annoying. So, but something about Shapiro is a little more intellectual. I dare say this, like someone like Shapiro is one of the only ones out there right now, as partisan and as bullshit as a lot of his stuff is, that is even comes close to the somewhat intellectual right-wing tradition of people like William F. Buckley. I would have to say or George Will or someone, who are both like, or George Will became like a never Trumper guy, which, whatever, I think the never Trumpers are the biggest hypocrites on the planet, by the way. I think they're just ridiculous idiots. So yeah, those are kind of a microcosm, a snapshot of pro-Trumpers that I do watch. I don't know I think Shapiro was a never Trumper, and then he kind of came around to softening his stance a little bit. I think privately he's more of a never Trumper. He just likes to cater to his audience. Just like I think Six Hacks and Hammer is way less like partisan deep down inside because of some of the stuff he says about globalization, also known as globalism. In my opinion, I think he probably is. If you really broke things down, I think he is less partisan than he comes across. I don't think people pander on purpose some of the time. They just kind of say things to their audience that they subconsciously think may serve their video or their commentary. I don't even think it's a conscious thing all the time. I'm trying to think of more. Well, I watch Razor Fist. I watch him mainly for the music stuff, though. Now, his political stuff makes me cringe. I think he's funny, and I think he does the right job of his comment, taking off of Dennis Miller or fuck is his name? Dennis Leary's kind of shtick, like some of the way he talks and stuff. I think it's funny, but I think he's way too partisan. He's way too. This is what I mean by Six Hacks and Hammer. Like, you read between the lines when you're watching this video. You're like, well, it just doesn't seem like he's as partisan as he seems. He just kind of cloaks it in the language because ultimately he's a libertarian, and I think almost it serves him better that he does cloak it in this stuff, because it leads that audience to go more towards that narrative, whereas someone like Razor Fist seems a lot more neocon in some ways. I think those two are very different, by the way. You really have to read between the lines of what they say and how they say it, and some of the sarcasm and stuff. I think they're way different. I watch both of them. Trying to think of anybody else that I watch. I watch the occasional whatever video, but yeah, I don't like Steven Crowder. I don't like, obviously I don't like the old guard of, Bill O'Reilly or Glenn Beck and all those just terrible, commentators over the years. Are horrible people in many ways. I have never liked those guys. But some of these youthful, sort of libertarian Trumpers are, to me, it's like, oh, you're almost there, dude. It's like you almost have, coming from the left perspective, you almost, if you're from the left, or if you're, coming at it from the left in your history of your life and stuff like I am, you're almost like, well, you're almost there, dude. Just almost to this, kind of dissident thing that could go dissident populist left or right kind of thing that they have, you know, people like Sticks. And that's my it's a frustration. You know, 2 years ago I would have never watched some of that stuff. Oh, he's a Trump supporter, oh, you know. But now it's like, I think because of the virus crisis, I started watching more of that stuff because I was like veering towards that right-wing side of it, and it was just like, oh my god, these are the only sane people. So I have that to thank for watching some of these commentators now. Of course, this is what happened with Razor Fist. I was watching him for a while before too because of his music stuff, and then I stopped watching him because I even watched him after the debate with Kyle Kalinske. I was just like, yeah, I could take out his politics, but then I unsubbed, and then probably about a year ago I resubbed because I thought the left was going too far in a lot of ways, or at least being totally hypocritical, which is the truth. Who else do I watch? I think that really is the core of who I watch. I think I do watch some other ones from time to time, but those are the main ones. I guess I'm the biggest fan of Sticks, Hex, and Hammer, even though I think he could do better. He's almost there. If he wanted to really be just totally anti-establishment, like 100%, including Trump, he could very well cross over into that if he wanted to. I think to me, I see him as a libertarian that saw Trump. I mean, literally did see Trump as a lesser of two evils in some ways, because I know his ideology is more along the lines of Rand Paul and people like that. So I can see that movement in his commentary, and he does shift, from being overly antagonistic towards the left, and then being kind of forgiving of the left. It's at least like I said, the old school left. And he says a lot of weird stuff about the neoliberals from the 90s. It's like he would prefer Clinton to any of these guys now. I don't know. There's not really a big difference that much between Clinton and someone like Biden. And he says he likes Reagan's first term and all this stuff. It's like, well, but you're against imperialism. You're against U.S. empire in a lot of ways. You talk about that in your videos. And Reagan was a perpetuator of that. Regardless if you hate communism or not. I'm doing a video. I still have to edit it because this phone editor takes a while and the time's out on my phone. I have to figure that out about communism, because there is a disturbing trend of people becoming more apologetic towards communism on the left. I mean, it's always been there, since the early 20th century, late 1900s. But it's kind of come back around in vogue, and I see it as a disturbing trend. I think people on the left can be against imperialism, for social safety nets, etc., even environmentalism, without being fucking communist or Marxist, even Marxist by that extension. And Marxism, period, is bad because it posits that a certain class of people is your enemy. It's divisive by its very core of beliefs. And I don't see that as a positive thing in the world. I don't see it with race. I don't see it with class or anything. And, even Ayn Rand is divisive in some ways. It's always us versus them in politics a lot of the time. But, that it's not it's very divisive. The bourgeoisie versus the proletariat, and then the petty bourgeoisie and all that shit. Now, as a criticism of capitalism, I think a lot of times Marxism was spot on. And, I do go into that in this video that I did yesterday that I have not edited completely. But anyways, that's about all.